Today on the Bass Channel, we're talking about the Deep Talkin flat wound short scale string set from Labella. Okay, so not too long ago, you saw me talk all about this fretless SG bass, but what I didn't mention in that video is that this bass features these strings. Now I have them here because I haven't committed the string gauges to memory, but these are perfectly balanced sets, 43, 60, 82, and 104. So they are taking their gauges very seriously. They're not rounding to the nearest 5 or 0, 43, 60, 82, and 104. And I gotta tell you, I have had numerous strings on this bass. I've had Elixir nickels, I've had Elixir stainless steel, I've had the stock strings that came on it, I've had Thomas Stick Infeld strings, the super light jazz bass ones, I've had D'Addario chromes, I've had Ernie Ball cobalt flats, and for a hot minute I tried the Roto Sound True Bass tape wound super heavy gauge, and I didn't really like any of them on this bass until I got to these. I know it sounds uber coincidental that the strings that are on it now that I happen to be making the video on are my favorite, but I can honestly say they are. The runner-up to these strings, in the few years that I've had it, I would say would probably be the D'Addario chromes. I liked the way they felt. I think this bass is definitely, it calls to have flat wounds on it. The issue that I had with the chromes, they felt great, they looked great, they just seemed to lack a mid-range character. Like the lows were all there, the clanky, almost unusable top end was all there, but there really wasn't any mid-range. So again, I wanted flats on this, and it was kind of the best I could get. Cobalts were okay, but they weren't as smooth, I guess. Enter these Labella Deep Talkin bass. Now I have a little bit of experience. I know Nick has these on his P bass. I think Will has these on his P bass. Obviously they're the long scale sets. This is the short scale set, which as you can probably see, lines up perfectly with the nut. The silk starts right behind it. These have all of the great polished feel that the chromes do, but they have mid-range character, which is not only cool for a short scale bass and for this short scale bass, but for this fretless short scale bass, because you're going to be doing really vocal kind of vibrato-y parts, and if you don't have the mid-range character, you lose a lot of that singing vocal quality, which is what you want to evoke when you're going to pull a slight vibrato like that. now that I've put these on, I can honestly tell you that these are the best flat wounds I've ever tried. They are the perfect match for this bass, and it just so happens that the silk is red. So it totally matches, unlike the blue of the chromes. If these didn't exist, I would have to do what I had to do with the chromes, but because these exist, they are on there, and the only way they're coming off is if they break. So I live my life on this camera. You'll see me in a year, you'll see me in 2 years, and you'll see these strings on this bass, I promise. These aren't coming off. If they do come off, feel free to send me a message and say, hey, what happened to those Deep Talkin bass strings that you love so much? Because I really do. These are great. Obviously, I can't give you a whole lot of experience on a more normal, fretted short scale, but I don't see why they wouldn't sound just as good, and I don't see why they wouldn't address the issues that I had with the chromes. Because like I said, the lows and highs are still there, but the mid-range is now there. So if you're on a fretted short scale Mustang or what have you, mine just happens to be an SG bass, they sound killer. So, as you know, flat wounds can run a little bit higher in price than, say, your Ernie Ball Slinkies, but they're the type of string that are designed to kind of live there. Whether or not the string manufacturer officially says that, that's kind of the vibe. You meet people like Chuck with his 1967 Yamaha. He's had those labellas on there, I think, since he's owned it, and he bought it, what, in the 90s? So, 94? Whatever it was, those strings have been on there for a literal lifetime. And I see these being on there for a literal lifetime as well. So that's just the deal with flat wounds. They run a little bit higher, but I think of all the flats that I've heard, hands down, these are the best. Let me know what you think. Do you have experience with this brand? Do you like another brand? What is it that you like? And if you dislike these, what did you dislike? I've shared with you everything that I liked. I'm not changing, but it's always fun to converse about these things in the comments. So in the meantime, if you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, obviously give it a dislike. I'm cool either way. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. Watch some other videos that you might not have seen. And of course, be safe, and I'll see you next time.